This is Aurie Styla, and you're listening to Replay Gang, the show where a special guest tells me about their life journey through the video games they've played along the way. This week, I'm joined by the incredible comedian and actress, Desiree Burch. This conversation went all over the map. We talked about her hatred of Minesweeper, how to clean your game cartridges, what it's like to rediscover gaming as an adult, and loads more. Desiree's brilliant, and you'll love this conversation. And hey, don't forget to give us a rating wherever you get your podcasts. And if you enjoyed this episode, send it to a friend. Anyway, here's Desiree. Hello everyone, what's going on? This is Aurie Styla. We are here again with another great person. My guest today is an award-winning comedian and a brilliant writer and actor. I can vouch for that, definitely. You've seen her on Live at the Apollo, QI, Would I Lie to You? And many other TV shows. You've heard her as the voice of Netflix's smash hit, Too Hot to Handle.
And don't pretend you haven't. I don't watch that show. Everybody sees some butts and clicks that button.
They pretend, yeah. They always want to act like, oh no, it's too much, and oh no, but they've had a glimpse. We've all seen shows like that, and they pretend like they don't know.
Yep.
She's here today with us to tell us about her journey through life, through comedy, and through gaming. Make some noise for Desiree Burch.
Yeah, they're all making so much noise at home. People are dropping it, just
Of course.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm great. Life is life and super hard these days, and I'm just about keeping up. I don't know about you kids at home, but gaming helps. It does help. Sometimes you need to press pause on reality and plus start on some reality someone made that was better inside of a box.
We'll take that. But from the intro that I said, I mean, everything I know that you're doing, and obviously I see you often when we gig, you seem like everything's good. So why would you want to, like, pausing life right now? Everything seems like it's up. Netflix. Everybody wants that attached to their name, and you got that as the voice of something.
That is true. It is important to be grateful and present. Although the thing is, everything that everybody's seeing, you recorded 6 to 12 months ago for the most part.
So you're out of the kind of the buzz of what's going on, of like everyone going, oh, look at this. I'm like, oh, I've been past this.
Totally. Everyone's like, it looks like it's going great, and I'm like, I've come from the future.
Everything that you think I've got from that recording has already covered the bills that needed it to cut. Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, you are somebody who is always out there creating their own fortune. You always have been a model of doing that. So if one, like you're kind of like an amazing sort of diner fry cook. And if one thing's done and that's what you hit the bell, and then you're working on the next thing, and it's a totally different burner and a totally different, it's like, oh, that guy wanted a souffle, that guy wants breakfast, this guy wants a steak, whatever, great, like it's beautiful to watch. And you just look at you and you don't even seem to break a sweat because you're always wearing cool clothes. So maybe you're sweating underneath, but it always looks great.
Believe me, it's very tiring. I've lost some years. I've definitely lost some years in trying to build a good life.
To be honest, though, like if you made the most out of these years, that's the correct thing to do, because nobody is guaranteed the century. Especially the way the world works these days.
Exactly.
We could all meet the same mushroom cloud, and some of us will be like, I'm not fussing. Some people be like, but I didn't finish the novel.
It's very true. That is very true. You got to take every day as it is and do what you can in each day. I think. Yes. Who did I hear say this? It was John Cena, who's actually very insightful when you listen to him talk. I mean, for somebody who is one of the mainstays, or was one of the mainstays at WWE, he's actually got a lot to say, despite how many times his head has probably been hit.
He's an incredibly talented guy, and maybe he just was like, not the face, only break the chairs over my shoulders and below.
Yes, but there's one thing you said. Have I worked enough today on the thing that I love doing have I earned, or do I deserve the sunset?
Deserving the sunset is a really beautiful way of putting it, because, when you actually do stop because the sun is setting and you witness it and you're like, oh, we're turning a page, we're closing a chapter. Like, what was written on this page? Was it enough? Was it right for me? And sometimes the answer is no. And that's also okay to be like, okay, well, how do I make tomorrow, something that gets written down on the page, and something that feels like, whoa, that was Because some pages you just turn to get to the next one. And that happens in every life, but you don't want the majority of it to be like, where is this book going? This is weird and unfulfilling.
Exactly. I've had a few gigs like that. I think we all have.
Just a few.
Just to get to the next one.
Yeah. I mean, they're part of the rhythm, I feel like, too, you know, and I probably internalize that more than some comedians who are like, you're wrong. That was great.
I think I always believe they're lying when that happens. I always believe they're lying.
It's when they tell the audience, like, you're wrong. I'm great. That was a good joke. This tends to happen with a very narrow margin of comedians, but we've all good with them, where they've just decided that the audience, and look, it is sometimes the audience's fault.
Oh, it can be, definitely.
Yes, but also sometimes you started that shit. Like sometimes the audience was fine and you threw off the pH in that room. Like you're the dirty finger that gave that room bacterial vaginosis. And you got to own that. You know, like it was fine before
I love the way you described that. Listen, we haven't even spoken about games. My bad.
I know. These kids are going to be learning so much.
So from bacterial vaginosis, let's find out when you got into gaming. What a segue.
Yes.
Hey.
So I got into gaming back in the days when we had to sexually pleasure our games to get them to work again. You know. Yep. Just
come on, baby.
Blowing on it.
Come on, baby,
and I remember when it changed to CDs, and then it was just like, you got to get the most untouched part of your t-shirt to like wipe that baby down. And you're like, no, this is going to fix it.
Yes. Like, that is that's memories you've brought back now.
Yes.
That
and I'm just like,
memories.
there are some kids who are like, what are you talking about? You hit the PlayStation button and then it pops on and you go.
And they
I'm
have
like,
no
no.
They have no idea of shaking the cartridge and blowing the cartridge.
Yep.
And if you had like a NES, you had to blow the inside of the machine as well.
Yes.
Hoping the dust would come out of the console rather than just in the cartridge.
The whole thing. And that was something, I mean, it was very much like sex because it was not like Nintendo came out and told you to do that. You had to hear from some weird, sketchy friend who was like, oh, you don't know how to blow in it?
That is hilarious.
This is how you found out about it. So yes, that is when gaming started for me. Although, to be fair, I think probably the first game I ever played was probably like Galaga. Like, you know, I was like, you know, but it was like like I would have been like my older brother had an Atari and we were like, ugh, and it broke really quickly because you can't have more than 2 kids in a house and something like that breaks. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
I remember the Christmas that we got the Nintendo.
Oh, so can you describe that for a sec? Because I've seen videos. I mean, I remember when I got like a PlayStation, the first one in 97 or 96, one of the two for Christmas. Describe that for a minute, because I know that when kids got it, you see old videos of them now on social media of when they got their first Nintendo, first Sega, and they went absolutely crazy. What was that like in your house?
I mean, it was the Christmas that we kind of knew. We had asked for it and we'd poked holes in all of the gifts. You know, like we had very few Christmases that were like very Christmassy at our house, but I feel like I don't know if I've conflated them in my memory, but I believe it was the same Christmas that I got a pogo ball. So it was like first grade, maybe it was kindergarten, first grade, second grade, something around there. So it would have been like 6, 7, 8, whatever. And it was like still, I remember waking up early and the lights around the tree and it was magic. And we kind of knew like, can we open this thing that we've been poking holes at for a week now because it's the Nintendo. Nice. And, you know, then finally we get to open it. And it was like, I mean, I get whatever, people can Google it, but I feel like the first one had the hatch, and then the second one was just the toaster. But the very first, right? But it was like, but the first one had the hatch, and you're like,
you pushed it in and then downwards. Yeah, that was a nest, and then
because it was like a VHS, I think was the thing where you had to like push it in, and then which we also had, you know, like we had all of those old school things, which now, I mean, why didn't anyone save all of those? They'd be worth so much money now. But at the time you're like, nobody wants this trash anymore. Let's get rid of the next thing. So and we had, you know, the original Super Mario, Duck Hunt, Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oi.
Yes, come on, Punch Out. Glass Joe, come on. And yeah, so and I think we had like, I can't remember if we got them all at once because we wound up getting or did have the power pad and the gun. Because it's America. So we had the gun for Duck Hunt. We had the power pad to like dance so you could do some stuff because you had to do some of that. Some of that worked with Punch Out, I think, too. And then there was a running like track and field, which like nobody, if you're sitting on your ass playing video games, you don't want to get up and do track and field.
Exactly,
but I think,
fitness when you want to, you've done that all day. Now I want to relax and I got to do fitness at home.
I think they're trying, and by done that all day, it's like in one class that you have to take. I mean, I was the girl. So I basically was like waiting to get a period so I could have an excuse to get out of PE. My brother was the sporty one, so he played like
the sports
football and so he was like dancing around this, but like this was us being like, oh, this was the transition from being out in the street, and there was like an overlap of when you were just out in the street and it was like you have to be back home before the street lights come on. Like that's the rule, but otherwise you go outside, you're just in the street and you're going car and grabbing a ball of whatever you're playing, whatever. But then suddenly all of us became indoor kids because this was the Nintendo and all of the subsequent gaming systems got us indoors. And now like everyone's like, I can't go outside. I might get like serial killed and kidnapped. Like I'm just going to sit here and play like a suite of games on multiple screens. But so yeah, that was the very beginning. And my younger brother and I were like 3.5 years apart. So we were around like that gaming system stopped us from and was somehow integrated with our long-term plot to kill each other. Because like it was that, I was the older sister.
He was the one that you used to knock heads with a lot more.
Like, I remember when I first saw South Park laughing at the relationship between Stan and his older sister, because I'm like, that's what it's like to be an older sister and have a younger brother. You're just like, I don't know why, but I gotta kill this kid. And like, from the kid's perspective, it's like, why is my older sister always pissed off? And from the sister's perspective, it's like, why is this little like bouncing hormone literally everywhere, turning things upside down? Like, sit down and shut up. I must crush you. So yeah, we were doing a lot of just beating each other. And then there was a Nintendo. And so then we were like, oh, now we can take it to the bridge. No, now we can take it to the screen and do it there. So like, we could compete or watch each other, like play or whatever. But I was the first one to beat Super Mario. That was the last time I ever won a video game. But it was the first one.
Last time.
I mean, no, done it before someone else. At that point, he was always like, "Oh yeah, beat this. Oh yeah, whatever. Oh you have to do this sequence. Oh, here's the cheat code." Yeah. But that was the very first one that I was like, I got there first and I figured it out. And I was like, I remember the morning and I was like, oh my God, this flag's coming out. It was all 8-bit like celebrations. I was like, I didn't. He was like, you did it. Like, you did it. That's like, whoa, So the last time he was impressed with me.
Nonetheless, that's still an achievement. Those were not easy to beat back then. So well done to you.
No, this is before I knew, like up, down, left, right, BA, select, start, or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the beginning of it. I think we did get a Sega Genesis at some point. I didn't play Sonic, but he had. And yeah, because I think there was some Sonic involved. I think there was a bit of Zelda. There was this game, The Legend of Ys, I think, YS, that I played. Yeah, it was like, I remember loving it because it was like, it was transitioning from like, like the NES games, like we still had that. And so there was like Street Fighter and like that kind of thing like that. I mean, where it was like, okay, he could completely crush me at Street Fighter, but I'm still going to like rock out Chun-Li, hit a bunch of buttons and kick him in the face a lot. Yeah. And be like, I can spin, it's amazing. So that happened. But this was one where it was like, there were sort of like ciphers and puzzles and like other things to do in the game to kind of get you forward. So it was a little bit more like not just fighting, but also like proceeding through like, now you have to get through this riddle or now you have to get through this thing. And I was like, oh, okay, that felt like a thing that I could do slightly better. So that's why I like kind of took to that. I think it was like The Legend of Ys or The Spirit of Ys or something like that.
I'll look into it. I don't remember the game myself, but I'll have a look into it. I still kind of play on my Nintendo Switch. You can play some of your older video games like on the Sega. You say Genesis, but in the UK we call it the Mega Drive. So same console. So you didn't know? Did you know that at all?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So the Mega Drive is the Genesis. It's just we gave it a different name in this country.
Okay. So if I ever hear somebody talk about a Mega Drive, because I was like, I think I missed that, but it was just the Genesis. Okay.
Yeah, it was exactly the same console. I'm interested. You said you picked Chun-Li as a character that you play on Street Fighter. Was there anyone else that when you used to play video games was like, this is me? I love this person and I resonate with this person.
Yeah, no, I think that so I would pick Chun-Li. Sometimes I would do Ryu, but I would pick Chun-Li just because I felt like it was geared a lot toward my ability to mash certain buttons, because she would immediately take off into a helicopter.
The kicks and stuff as well. If you keep pressing kicks, she just kept doing that.
Exactly.
And that was one of the moves, so why not? Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm buying myself time to figure out the next move.
Yeah.
I mean, similar to like, you could kind of do a similar thing with E Honda if you were just with I'm going to do a bunch of
slaps in the hands.
Oh my God, who doesn't want a bunch of slaps? And I think at some point once we got to a Mario that like you could choose to be like Luigi or Princess or whatever.
Oh yeah,
like,
Super Mario Bros. 2. Yes,
that's the one. So yeah, then I figured out like Luigi was good, but Yoshi was my jam.
Nice.
I think on that one. And yeah, I'm trying to think of if there are other ones where you get to choose your character. That isn't like
you don't even have to
player.
choose. It could be something like it's just a regular game, but you liked that character that you look at and go,
well, I mean,
me.
I think I probably enjoyed more recent characters then because I'm like because I basically like have this like long pause in my gaming history where I like accomplish goals in my life and stuff because
of course, you're supposed to
well no, but like some people can balance that, and like some of us are like instant gratification monkeys. I really enjoyed I would say Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I really got into. And moreover, now I'm going to say this and I've forgotten her name. It's not Ailey. It's from Horizon Zero Dawn.
I played I played an hour of Horizon and I kind of put it down.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember her name as well.
I fucking love that game.
Do you know what? It looks fantastic. I think the gameplay for me was the idea of all these kind of robots that you have to kind of turn to help you out in some points. It's great, but I felt that the storyline was hidden behind this mechanic that felt a bit repetitive, whereas the storyline I'm pretty sure is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But because the mechanic itself for me was, I got to do this again with another robot. All right, I'll go and do that.
You're right. I guess I didn't do very much of that until toward the end of the game to turn them. I just killed them all.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got the options to do that as well. Okay,
yeah,
fair
you
enough.
Just destroy them. You just at some point it's like, you should, you should convert them to use them to your advantage because some of them are extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah.
But I just spent the majority of my time trying to take down everything. And the bigger they got, the more I was like, well, get this different weapon, get up here and destroy that shit.
Oh, fair
because
enough.
There's nothing better than lots of machine parts exploding everywhere and then just like scavenging. Because I was just like, great, broke it all down for parts. Like, I don't know, that's part of my, I love foraging in a game. I'm one of these nerds that I'm just like, man, I will forage and make potions and like scavenge this thing and like strip it for parts, sell all the parts, reuse the part. Like,
tell me you played Zelda on the Switch.
I haven't. No, my best friend has it, but I just watched him play because he would never let go of the controller when I was at his place.
Okay, if you love that element of just going into a game and spending all your time doing things of collecting stuff, wood, collecting like materials, collecting recipes so you can cook stuff that help you get more hearts. And like the Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they're the two that are on the Switch. Okay. Tears of the Kingdom is the newer one. Okay. I actually put Breath of the Wild slightly above Tears of the Kingdom. When you give someone too much in a game to do, there's a level where it's like, I could do so much in Breath of the Wild, but now I can do even more in Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. And it feels like more of the game is about that than the storyline. But both of them are so good when it comes. You can collect parts of machines on Tears of the Kingdom, and you can build absolutely anything you want to build, and it can help you. You love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely love that if you've never got into it.
I mean, I maybe need to get a Switch into my life. I've only ever enjoyed them at other people's houses or whatever.
Okay.
I know you have one. And I wanted to get one, but then I was like, am I just going to be gaming all the time or not? You know what I mean?
If you're on the road, it's perfect. If you're on the road.
Yeah, like if you're, but like whenever I'm on the road, I'm like, I got stuff to do. But yeah, sometimes it's better than just like coming back from the gig and like flipping on, Netflix.
Law and Order or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because yes, I mean, because you were doing some amazing thing on a Switch, but it was like, you just have to start the game from the beginning every single time. And I was like, that sounds so
I think that was
hard.
Hades. I was playing Hades, I think it was. But that's the theme of the game. If you died, you have to start again from the top. But that's only that game.
Yes.
But it's a great,
of course.
it's a great game.
But I was just like, that's some next level gaming, because I think I would have thrown my Switch into the wall at some point with that. So yes, but I will check that out. I mean, I got back into gaming. I mean, we'll get to the middle bit, but I feel like I got back into it more recently because I have a boyfriend. He has a PS5. Yeah. So I was just like, okay, well, and it took me having to get like a knee surgery because I had an injury. I tore my meniscus and I was like on my ass for a while. And he was like, great, you're on your ass. You're playing this PlayStation. Yeah. Here's Assassin's Creed. That was the first game I played on it. I spent an embarrassing number of hours.
You're allowed to. You was in recovery. Absolutely allowed to.
But like, he was like, whoa. Because like, it'll tell you. And you're like, I mean, it's nice because he's played all of these games, so sometimes it like, you can see.
It's nice for him to be able to see you enjoy.
Yes. No, he's been in curating my entire PS5 experience now. So I haven't like, I was like, maybe I should switch to this game I've heard about. He's like, no, don't play that crap game after you play this game. And I'm like, they can't all be bangers. Like sometimes you just have to play a game that you're like, this is just my own little wormhole, like I like cats. Just let me play Stray. I know it's not a AAA game or whatever the heck.
But it's still a good, if you like cats, it's an amazing game to play.
Thank you. Just let me have my little weird cat game. I'm like, it's not all Freebird. Like it's not a greatest hits tour. Sometimes it's gaming. And now I've gamed enough that like every single game I've played has been sort of a banger, but he's been like building me up. Like I just finished Red Dead Redemption 2 and he was like building me toward this because he was like, this game is the most amazing game.
And the fact that he built you up to it and then you still went and played it and got through it, that is not a short game to get through.
No,
Red Dead is huge.
No.
So well done for you for sticking at it after the build up as well of him going, no, it's
Other
great.
Other people would have been like, hey, maybe stop and like work on your career. And I was like, no. Well, I know, because I had a friend I was talking to. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, oh, how is Arthur Morgan? And he's like, yeah, I put in maybe 60 hours. And I was just like, I don't know. I need to do, because I get it. It's huge. A slow build. It's like, it's a huge world and a slow build. And extraordinarily beautiful. But it, like, I don't know. I found that I've only played 2 Rockstar games so far, but they do take a little while. Like even when I played GTA 5 earlier on, and I was like, I don't know about this game. Like it's taking a while. Everybody talked about, I don't know. And then at some point I was like, man, I need to go beat Trevor and friggin' run some fools over with a car and start like, it just, it was weird, but it took a lot of hours for me to be like, I was like on the fence. And then I was like, oh yeah, I love this. Like, what am I even talking about? Like, and also like the story starts to take off a lot faster. Yeah. But I guess it's, it's teaching you how to be in the world and play the game and to get good enough to be in the story, which I can understand.
I probably need to download GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 again, because I started both of them. I got far enough in both of them and I went, are we still going? Because I forget how long the game is.
It is. They are both extremely long. I mean, RDR2 is way long. And like, because I was like, I played GTA 5, so I was like, oh, this is going to take a while. I get it. But I was like, like I was kind of like, it's a while, you put in 60, 80 hours and you're like, is this going to get good? And then like it starts to get good and then really good, really fast. But like, it really makes you work for the payoff. And so like, he's like, it also helps to have someone being like, no, it's so good. Like, where are you?
And push you for it.
You're not even that into it yet. Like, don't even, it helps to have that person be like, you haven't even scratched the surface. Like, just keep going. Because there were ones that I would have, like those I would have been like, I don't know, because they are they ask a lot of you, you know, in terms of
do.
your investment in them. Yeah.
Best game of all time, worst game of all time. What are they?
I don't know. It's not even the worst game. Some people love it. This is from the middle years where I was like, you know, in high school, at university, and starting a life in New York, you know, like, so I remember everybody getting into Minesweeper on their new computer when we were all going to university, because I went in 1997 because I'm old. And everybody was like, everyone was on ICQ. And like also, you know, playing Minesweeper. And I was like, this sucks. Like,
What?
yes, I'm just not, I don't care. I don't want to figure out it's too.
But did you know how to play it?
No, I don't know. Try not to hit a mine and figure out where the mines are.
But do you know how to do that though?
No, but it's also kind of like, I mean, yes and no, like not enough to get into it and be like, oh, like I was just, anything that's like slaps you in the face really quickly, you know, like I'm probably not ready to go do martial arts because I don't want to get kicked in the head and knocked over immediately the first 4 times. And I'm like, why am I doing this with my free time? Like, that's a game you go in and you're just like, boom, boom, oh, exploded. Boom, boom, oh, exploded. You know, and it's weird because at the same time, like, there are games that are like that I enjoyed. Like, you know, like Oregon Trail is mostly dying from dysentery. Like but you know, when you're in 4th grade playing that, you're like, this is kind of fun. Let's see how far I can get before I get some oxen and whatever. And you start to get into it because it's got enough reward and enough punishment to kind of pull you through. Similar to that, just made me think of Drug Dealer. Did you ever play Drug Dealer?
We've had games like that, but not one that was called that. I'm just trying to remember the version that we had in the UK when I was at school.
I just remembered everybody's like, what's Quaaludes?
Yes.
At the time.
Yes.
It was selling so many loots.
I had no idea. We had that on ours, and I remember not knowing what Quaaludes were.
Yeah.
So when they were in the game, I was like, okay, I'm sure it's something. I knew the typical stuff by the names that you saw in movies, and
of course.
And if you've had like family members who smoke weed and stuff.
But nobody's taking Quaaludes past like the 70s. So like all of us playing this in the 90s were like, what the fuck is a Quaalude?
Yeah. I remember we played it on our PC at school. I remember. And people were like really upset because we were playing this game at school. And it was literally like a game that you would have to learn how to master buying and selling. And it was like it wasn't like a character. It was reading lines.
It was
and
text.
you text and you have to make selections as to what you were going to do. I remember those games. Oh,
yeah.
man.
And it didn't even give you, I don't even know if there was a single graphic. Like at least Oregon Trail would have like an oxen being dead and whatever, or a tombstone that would pop up. But like, I don't think Drug Dealer had any graphics at all. It was purely text-based. And we were obsessed with becoming excellent digital drug dealers in this game.
That's crazy.
I was like, that was a fun one. But yeah, I think it started to switch over to like, of the games that would come on my PC, there was Solitaire, like Minesweeper, and I don't know, maybe there's another one. And I was like, I'll just play Solitaire.
Hearts. I think Hearts was one,
There you go. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'm the card game type and not the I never figured out how to play Minesweeper well, just like I never quite figured out the trick to a Rubik's Cube. Like basically once you figure it out, then you're like, oh, this is just fun because now I'm flying and now I can get a complicated one and keep going with the same principles. But if you don't, you're just like, man, fuck this.
What about best game?
So I played this right before I played RDR2, Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, great game. Great game.
Oh my God.
Great game. Even if you watch just the videos of people playing it, it's phenomenal.
Oh my God. Like I wept at the end. Like I sobbed. It was beautiful.
So I started it. I played about 2 hours, but again, life starts lifing and touring and so on.
It's so good. Like just
I need to get back into it again properly.
How immersive it is, you know, like and it is cinematic. So it makes sense that it's got the sort of like, black and white mode and the whatever, because it is so beautifully cinematic, but it is so immersive in the way that they've brought in sort of, when what I'm sure is very sort of light strokes of samurai Japanese culture, but just the fact that like the wind guides you. You know, like all of these really small things and sort of and all of the characters and like it's dramatic. Like
It is,
you get
from
to
what I've heard.
care about these characters and some of the people you love die in front of you and you're like, and like the very like I mean, there's this one moment, I'm not going to spoil it, but like, you know, where like a significant character dies and like he just says, you know, says to the main character, just like, you know, meet me in the next life. And he's like, I will, you know, like just all of these things that are bringing in aspects of samurai culture, Shintoism, like all of these different things are woven together so beautifully. Like I sobbed at the end because I was just like, I didn't know a game could do this. It was the first time that I had that experience of like, oh my God, like I didn't realize like this is why people are obsessed with gaming. Like I was like, this is it. I'm transformed in a way that like I've seen theater that hasn't done that. I've seen, you know, film like that hasn't done that. I mean, I have seen stuff that does, but like it was on par and with and above much of the art that I have consumed in my life. That I was like,
amazing.
That changed my life. Oh my God. So it was, yeah, it made me be like, I want to write a game. Like, I understand why that's a world that people really get into. And like, how do you even do that? Because it seems so complex like that. Yeah, it changed me as a person. Like, well done. I did not know gaming could do that.
Game.
Yeah,
sold it.
It's stunning. It's like obviously it's beautiful, but it's just like I don't know. And perhaps you've had that. I'm not sure what style of game that you like because I like the sort of first person sort of adventure. Like I'm not great at walking to a room and getting shot at by a million people. But like,
I enjoy that. I enjoy that in some games, but I don't like them in a lot of them. Like Call of Duty and stuff. I've played when I was younger. I don't get into the games now with the story modes. I want a real. And this is why I think PlayStation has really beaten a lot of its competition when it comes to the games that they have. Is their titles that are exclusive to Sony and to PlayStation. Yeah. They have such a huge grip on you emotionally. Like for example, you mentioned Horizon. You've just said Ghost of Tsushima, the God of War and God of War Ragnarok.
That's the next one that he was like, I think you should probably go on to God of War because that's his favorite, one of his favorite, you know, that. And he was like, maybe that, like I think The Last of Us is the most precious to him.
Last of Us is
and
really
like,
emotional.
He's like, maybe you're ready to play Last of Us 1, but maybe you might want to go to God of War. I'm not sure, but like you're here now. I was like, okay.
And PlayStation, their exclusive studios have really found a way to hook you with great storylines. I mean, they've mastered that really. So I get you with the emotional attachment you have with Ghost of Tsushima. It's just such a craft that they have with the storylines. Gameplay's great, but the storylines that hook you, they're really good with that. So well done to them.
Where you're like, oh, it's now my dream to be in a video game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because I guess, you know, they do have motion picture studios and maybe they were more, you know, far-seeing in terms of trying to bring that in line with gaming or whatnot.
If there was a game that you would be able to say has represented your life or could represent your life, if you were able to say this game would be great because it makes me feel like this is how my life is embodied in a game, what would that be?
That's really interesting. I don't know that I've come across that yet. I'm sure that there are games out there that exist that speak to the experience of, I don't know, like whatever, a Black woman who's middle-aged and whatever. I don't know, like fat and arty. I don't know. But like, you know, I think that a lot of my experience when I was young was framed by, you know, and I've sort of tried to write this into various things that I've created, like fictional things. And I think like it's the hyper visibility and invisibility that comes with a big body type, particularly, and especially with being a Black woman in a big body type.
Yeah.
It is, you know, the fun part is weaponizing or exploiting that, is to be like, oh, like you can't tell me apart from any of these other Black women. So what's to stop me from putting on the catering costume and robbing you blind? Or what's to stop me from, because you don't ever expect me to A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. Like, not that they don't expect crime.
Yeah.
I'm Black. But like, you know, you don't expect a certain kind of mental acuity or capability, or, you know, like, as long as I'm humming a spiritual in the background, I could get away with a lot more than anybody's, you know, so I would love, you know, to see that. But also, you know, I'm in my mid-40s, so I would just love to see like adventures of menopausal woman, you know, which is like, you know, just literally brain fog, being like suddenly on fire, and then like being asked to like recall something while you're on set, you know, or like having someone be like, what's wrong with you? And being like, I will literally fucking destroy you right now. The Adventures of the Perimenopausal Princess or something. Like, that would totally speak to my experience.
That is insane. I would love to see how you build a game that represents that so
if anybody makes this TM, call me, because I got opinions on shit you need. Like, legit, everybody needs to have an experience of being like, what it's like being inside a woman who is 43. And like, because the thing is, it's like, you might not yet know what the fuck is going on with you. You still think shit's normal. Like, it's one thing when you know it's wrong. It's like, you know, in Marble Madness, when you get to level 6, like, everything you know is wrong. And so you're like, oh, I get it. It's opposite day. Just do that and you can navigate it. When you know what's going on, you can navigate it better. When you have no fucking idea what is going on, and you're like, which is why everybody's just like, I think I have dementia and depression and arthritis, and for some reason my gums are bleeding. You're like, it's one thing, but like, I would just love to see you know, her navigate trying to keep her high level job that she worked her entire career for, or doing something far more adventurous than that. But Adventures of the Menopausal Woman,
it'd be like The Sims.
My game.
It'd be like The Sims, where you live a life, but for some reason on one day everything just goes ski whiff all over the place. Yeah. And then the next day you can see the destruction of what has happened, and you have to try and piece it all together again, knowing that the balance of that day could all of a sudden go again.
Off. And then everyone's like, how you doing? You good? Okay, great. You're like, no, not good.
Wow. That's, well, I don't know if I'd ever see a game like that. We'll see. If it happens, it happens. But
right. Well, I mean, the demographic for whom games are made for is not typically that one, but still, I feel like it's gonna exist one day. Like, I feel like they definitely will have that character, and they will figure out how to be like, you know, put it in haptic feedback, and there'll be some 17-year-old who's like, how come I keep trying to walk and I just keep falling on the floor? It's called vertigo, bitch. Navigate your life with that now. Your inner ear's fucked.
You've got options on the screen. You know, like in like quick time events where you have to press a button for something to happen. You've got options on the screen of so on, and it says press X for, and then it doesn't tell you what it is because it's forgotten what it is to press an X for. That is the brain fog.
Exactly.
That's the brain fog element.
I think this is the place where I usually keep the paracetamol. That's on the wheel. Just your satchel full of goods where you're like, I swear to God, I bought this at the store. Nope, you left it at home today.
Imagine the programmers having fun having to get those details down. That's that'll be an interesting one.
That's so funny.
So we play a game called L or R. It's a quick fire game. Tell me, are you ready?
Cool. Yes.
All right. Sega or Nintendo, the classics.
Ooh, Nintendo.
Nintendo, lovely. All right. Mario or Sonic?
I mean, I guess Mario, yeah.
You pick Nintendo, so I expect that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Hearts or Solitaire?
Solitaire.
Yeah? You good at Solitaire?
Yeah, I mean, pretty. It's like all the other things. Once you figure out how it's done, then you're just like going like, how do I get all these aces lined up and start doing my job, cleaning up?
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Good character choices or evil character choices?
Damn. Ooh. I mostly do good character choices, but that's why I enjoy GTA so much, because I was like, oh, I should just run all these people over. Like at some point, my boyfriend's like, what are you doing? Why are you waiting? He literally caught me in a car waiting at a traffic light.
Serious?
He was like, what are you doing? I was like, I mean, what's the point of crashing? It's just going to slow me down. I'm going to get thrown out of the car. I'm going to get out. He's like,
you play properly.
Yeah, I mean, no. But then at some point, he was like, go. And I was like, oh. And then I started playing it like that. And I was like, oh, this is more fun. He's like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be played. What the fuck's wrong with you? But then you play RDR2 and it's like, you got to make some choices because your ass going to get caught.
Yeah, the police come and get you. And then you have to, you lose money and they're
like
quick.
In GTA, they just forget about you at some point if you hide enough. Like whereas they never forget.
Whereas RDR2, you can go to, you go to a certain town and you're on a wanted poster.
Yes.
And you have to clear that or you get arrested and go and do time.
Exactly. Or you get arrested if you're insanity, or you just get hunted all the time.
That's it. Only be able to play games you've already completed, or only be able to play new games you've never tried.
Only be able to play new games I've never tried.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
There's a whole world of games I've never tried. So I'd have to just keep going. And that is... I haven't completed enough games to contain myself in those worlds, even though
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, I know you and your partner both love video games, so here's a good one. A partner who forever hates video games, or a partner who forever beats you at any video game you play.
Oh, a partner who forever beats me at any video game I play.
Oh, you're all right with that?
I'm okay with that. I'm an easy motor.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like everyone can beat me at pretty much everything.
And you're all right with
I'm fine with that. But if he was just like, if he came home and he's like, ew, why are you playing this? I'd be like, what?
That's fair enough. TV shows and movies based on video games, or video games based on TV shows and movies.
Video games based on TV shows and movies. I haven't seen too many of the other ones, to be honest, but I feel like I don't know. I know that some of those can probably be bad. I know that everyone's like, oh, I'm sure there are games that people were like, but I mean, whatever. Spider-Man was based on a movie and it turned out
basically,
well.
Yeah. And that's
do you know
great.
what I mean? Like, so yeah, I think so. Like, I think I would love to play like What We Do in the Shadows, the video game, even if it was bad.
Okay.
It still would be fun.
I think they've got a game now coming out of A Quiet Place.
Okay. See?
Right. So if you like A Quiet Place, but what they've done is the microphone on the controller detects how loud you're being. If you're loud, the monsters, I think they're called Death Angels or whatever they're called.
Whoa.
Those monsters detect you
up.
and then come and you've seen how quick they are in the game in the movie.
So literally, if you have a London apartment, you have to like. Legit, like a loud noise could happen outside, or like someone could come home and you're like, I'm dead now.
And that's what they wanted. They wanted that kind of interactive experience where you worry about your phone ringing, the door ringing, and like the noises on the outside, like having to be able to play in a quiet time. And 9 times out of 10, that's going to be at nighttime, and there's going to be jump scares that happen on the screen. Yeah. You have to like refrain from going because as soon as that happens.
They were like, you know what? Human beings don't live with enough anxiety.
Yeah. Do you know what? If you haven't seen many great films that are based on games, honestly, Last of Us, Fallout's really good. There's so many.
I haven't seen The Last of Us because my boyfriend refuses
to let you watch it until you play the game.
Well, he was like, yeah, and he's like, it's maybe the best game I've ever played. It's special to me. I have to figure out and I was like, can I? He was like, no, you can't watch it. I'm like, what the? It's the only thing he's ever been like that about at all. And I'm just like, I guess I'll respect it because you have so I'm like, can I play it now? And so now I finish RDR2. He's like, okay, I think you can play this now.
Play Last of Us. Have you started Last of Us yet? No? Yeah.
No, okay. I haven't.
So I won't tell you, but you might already be aware.
I'm vaguely aware of the broad premise, and I saw him play. He just replayed Last of Us 1.
Oh, so you know, so you saw the first 10, 15 minutes of what happened.
Yeah, no, I only saw a random middle. I saw unfortunately, I saw the end of 1. But I also kind of was aware from people talking about the series, vaguely what it's about, but I haven't seen the beginning of it. And he's like, I'm now playing 2, and you definitely can't watch any part of that.
Can't. I know the stories. I didn't play through. I played through some of 1. I don't like scary games. I played through some of 1. Didn't play through number 2 because I didn't finish 1. But I've spoken to so many people about the storyline, and I watched the TV series, so I know what happens.
Yeah.
And I watched clips of the TV series. I only watched it recently after everyone telling me you have to watch it, and it's kind of watching it from a distance because I don't like jump scares and stuff, but I already know the storyline. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat like that.
No, I'm a scaredy cat too. So part of me is like, maybe I should watch this because I'm just like, he replayed 1 and he was like, it's not like he's like, at some point I have to stop. Like I can't keep, like, it's like so intense and like emotionally intense. And it's like, it's not one of those games like, you know, I mean, there was a day with RDR2 that I was just like, okay, today's trash. You know, like this is the perfect country for gaming because you look outside and you're like, oh, it's wet, it's gray, it's useless. It's why I love Saturday, whatever. Yeah. You know, or Sunday, you're like, fuck it. Like, this is me all day.
Let's go and do this, yeah.
Yeah, let's just tuck in. And so, yeah, there was definitely a day where it's just like, oh, no, I played this game literally like it was my job. Like, I put in like 9 hours
Oh, well done. As you should. As you should. All right, last one. Live in a world based on video games, or like actually live in the world of the video game, or have video game characters live in your world.
Video game characters in my world.
You'd want them here?
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Totally. Well, because video game worlds, I don't know, can sometimes be cool, but are usually fucked. And video game characters in this world would still have to adapt to how messed up this world is. That's like, facts. In this world, you can't just be climbing up mountains and jumping off of them because you'll shatter every bone in your body. So get used to this. Yeah, okay, now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, it'd be great to live in some of these worlds where you just like flutter around and you fall off things and then you go, because in real life, gravity is mean. But I feel like, I don't know. I mean, all video game characters? Because there'd be too many zombies.
That's true.
But like main characters, you're like, okay, you know, like, and there's some characters like, I could chill with Franklin. You know, for GTA. Like, sometimes I'm like, this is, you know, and Trevor's nuts, but like, respect. Like, I can chill with some of these people. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, I like some of these characters, you know? Jin, you can't walk around with a samurai sword here. I'm sorry. A guy did that. He's in jail.
Yeah, that's a good point. Whereas in that world, it's fine. That's the world that they do that in.
Totally.
And also respawning. You can, if anything happens in a video game world, you can come back to life again.
Why didn't I think about respawn, Desiree? I just, in my gut, I was just like, too many options, too many ways for things to go wrong. Too many, literally, in RDR2, I would just accidentally move my horse the wrong way, and now I'm wanted for murder because I've trampled someone. I was like, man, I can't, this is not, okay.
Des, thank you for joining us on this. I really appreciate it. This is
so much fun. Thank you so much for this too, because now I have all these recommendations for games that I would like that I wouldn't have, you know, like unless my boyfriend's played them and is like, oh, I love this game, I might not have heard about it.
Desiree, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And anything you want people to know of where you're going to be, what you're doing next?
Oh, Aurie, you're fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm at Desiree on Instagram. I stopped doing Twitter a long time ago. Sorry. You know, you can check my stuff out on YouTube. I don't know. Watch. Just let your TV autoplay. Too Hot to Handle the background because I'd love to get more seasons.
Amen.
And don't be honest. You like butts. And it's so many butts. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I'm working on a tour show. So like, if you wind up hearing this in 2025, I'm doing a new hour next year that I'll be doing around the UK and at some places in the States. It's called The Golden Wrath. It's, you know, it's all about being an angry middle-aged woman, dealing with like all kinds of like death and things in my body. But it's very, very funny and relatable because, you know, we've all been lethally pissed off before, right?
Nah, it's very true. We all have. So I'll be looking forward to it.
So will I. Thank you so much, Aurie. You're a fucking G. This is so much fun.
Thank you very much.
I always love talking to you, and thank you for creating this space. I can't wait until you're circling back to your guests, and I can tell you what adventures I've been on since then. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Desiree. Take care. And
you too.
Guys, we are out.
Nice.
You've been listening to Aurie Styla's Replay Gang. The show is written and presented by me, Aurie Styla, and produced by Matt Nida. Replay Gang is a Wild Ambitions production. Leave us a rating, tell your friends, and we'll be back with another episode next week.